Prologue, extremely short. You are listening at FameTV.info. A teenage boy sat at the dinner table, with 2 plates of breakfast on the tabletop before him. This boy had jet black curly hair which rested upon his elegant face. His symmetrical facial features were more so on the feminine side. His lips were soft and pink as cherry blossoms. Black roundish glasses rested upon his nose. Bridge. With a perfect draw line and a perfect nose, baby. Smooth soft skin, and golden brown eyes, this young man was indeed pulchritudinous. His name was Gene Pierce. Gene. Where /s your glasses, dear? Asked an old woman. It /s, I think I left it upstairs. I ll go get them. You can remain seated. She stood up from the dinner table. I ll go get them for you. Hurry up and eat though, you ll be late for school. She hurried away. When she had left the kitchen, Gene quickly whistled, drawing forth a fluffy white dog to him. The slow gait and the slit eyes the dog had, hinted at the extremity of its laziness. Gene then quickly threw the food onto the floor for the dog to eat. He simply did not want to be poisoned from his grandmother /s horrible cooking by any means today. The greedy dog gulped everything down within seconds, passing its tongue over its mouth when it was finished. The variously gluttonous dog did nothing but eat Gene /s grandmother /s food all the time. Which made Gene question his taste buds. The dog finished the food, looking up at Gene with desperate eyes, as if to say, more. Having seen this, Gene smiled slightly and jovially said, "Good boy, Benjamin." Gene then rolled his wheelchair over to him, and stood. Slowly, he then sat on the wheelchair, and started steering it to the front door. His grandmother soon returned to him with his glasses. "Here," she said, handing the pair to him. He quickly took the glasses out of the case, and rested it upon his nose bridge. The black glasses were quite round and large. However, it was perfect on Gene /s face. It somehow made him even more elegant. "You finished with your breakfast already?" "Well, someone was hungry this morning." "No, he just simply didn't want to lose his life so soon, especially to food poisoning." He smiled in response, and said, "I am leaving. I ll be back at 4 for the most part. Have a pleasant day, Grandma." "Same to you, Gene. Just don't get in any fights." She waved him goodbye as he set out, leaving the house, and using his wheelchair to move around. She watched his departure, and continued to watch on until her eyes could not make him out as he narrowed into the streets. "Gene! Gene, get up!" The voice started off as muffled, constant whispering but quickly relented into much louder bawling. All he could see now was black, but as the words soared through the air, and exploded into his ears, he flew up from his slumber. He jolted upright, rising up from his desk, and looking around in confusion. In doing so, he saw that the students in the class were sitting at their desks quietly, doing an examination. In front of Gene, there was a teenage elf boy. He had long, golden, blonde hair, and eyes that were bluer than the ocean. His ears were sharp, pointy and long. He wasn't fat, nor was he skinny. He was in between the former and latter. He wore a gray shirt and khaki brown pants. The elf boy was at the desk in front of Gene /s. With his arm resting upon the back of the chair he was sitting on, he peered back at Gene with his body turned a bit. "Gene! You up?" he asked, still peering at Gene. Quickly, Gene adjusted his glasses. "Yeah, I am up Dobby," he whispered. Dobby then cooed, "Mr. Griffin /s not in class for a while," he continued. "Flash wants the answers for numbers 20.1 through 40. You already know what /s gonna go down if we don't comply." Gene nodded his head, and looked down at his desk. On his desk, there was a pen, and a test paper he had long completed. On a piece of paper, he quickly jotted down the answers for the asked questions, even going out of his way to number them neatly. "What are you doing?" asked a hobbit who was sitting at the desk behind him. Jean looked at the figure. It was freakishly short, with brownish hair, and baby-like hands. It sat at a smaller desk, peering up at him. He continued jotting down answers on the paper. I'm just doing what Flash says. The hobbit narrowed its eyes at Jean, and scoffed, "You gonna get in trouble again, why no." "Whatever," Jean muttered, with his eyes slit. Dobby, the elf boy sitting in front of him, then turned around, and asked, "Jean, you done yet?" Jean's pace of writing sped up as he jotted down the last few answers. "Gimme a sec, okay, done." He folded the page, and handed it to Dobby. Dobby simply looked down at it, and passed it to a dark green goblin who was wearing a jacket. Consecutively, the goblin passed it to a much larger goblin-like creature with grayish skin complexion, and a muscular build, a hobgoblin. The hobgoblin*'s head was bald, and its canines of the lower jaw extended over its upper lip, and reached as high as its nose. It focused on Jean, and winked at him, raising a thumb. Jean simply nodded his head, and stared until it turned away. And finally, he put his head on the desk again, and his eyelids drooped until his eyes were closed. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.